Pall Mall Gazette, September 18th. The Escaped Wolf. Perilous adventure of our interviewer. Interview with the keeper in the zoological gardens. After many inquiries and almost as many refusals, and perpetually using the words Pall Mall Gazette as a sort of talisman, I managed to find the keeper of the section of the zoological gardens in which the wolf department is included. Thomas Builder lives in one of the cottages in the enclosure behind the elephant house, and was just sitting down to his tea when I found him. Thomas and his wife are hospitable folk, elderly and without children, and if the specimen I enjoyed of their hospitality be of the average kind, their lives must be pretty comfortable. The keeper would not enter on what he called business until the supper was over, and we were all satisfied. Then, when the table was cleared, and he had lit his pipe, he said, "Now, sir, you can go on and ask me what you want. You'll excuse me refusing to talk. Some subjects after meals. I gives the wolves and the jackals and the hyenas in all our section their tea before I begins to ask them questions." "How do you mean ask them questions?" I queried, wishful to get him into a talkative humor. "Eatin' of them, over the head, where the pull is one way. Scratching of their ears is another. When gents as is flesh wants a bit of show or to their gals, I don't so much mind the fuss. The eatin' with a pull afore I chucks in their dinner, but I waits till they've had their sherry, so to speak, afore I tries on with the ear scratchin', mind you," he added, philosophically. "There's a deal of the same nature in us as in them. They're animals. Here's you a-comin' and arskin' of me questions about my business, and I that grumpy like that only for your bloomin' 'arf-quid I'd seen you blowed fuss 'fore I'd answer. Not even when you asked me, sarcastic like, if I'd like you to arsk the superintendent if you might arsk me questions. Without offense, did I tell you to go to L? You did. And when you'd said you'd report me for using of obscene language, that was hitting me over the head. But the arf-quid made that all right. I weren't a-goin' to fight, so I waited for the food, and did with my owl as the wolves and lions and tigers does. But Lord love you art, now that the old 'ooman has stuck a chunk of her tea cake in me, and rinsed me out with her bloomin' old teapot, and I've lit up you may scratch my ears for all you're worth, and won't get even a growl out of me. Drive along your questions. I know what you're a-comin' at that ere escaped wolf." "Exactly. I want you to give me your view of it. Just tell me how it happened, and when I know the facts, I'll get you to say what you consider was the cause of it, and how you think the whole affair will end." "All right, Governor. This year is about the old story. That there wolf, what we call Dracula, was one of 3 gray ones that came from Norway, which we bought off him 4 years ago. He was a nice, well-behaved wolf that never gave no trouble to talk of. I'm more surprised at I'm for wanting to get out, nor any other animal in the place. But there you can't trust wolves no more nor women." "Don't you mind him, sir," broke in Miss Tom with a cheery laugh. "He's got mind in the animal so long that blessed if he ain't like an old wolf itself. But there ain't no harm in him. Well, sir, it was about 2 hours after feeding yesterday when I first heard my disturbance. I was making up a litter in the monkey house for a young puma which is ill, but when I heard the yelping and howling, I kem away straight. There was Basicker a-tearing like a mad thing at the bars as if he wanted to get out. There wasn't much people about that day, and close at hand was only one man, a tall, thin chap, with a ook noose and a pointed beard, with a few white hairs running through it. He had a hard, cold look and red eyes, and I took a sort of mislike to him, for it seemed as if it was him, as they was irritated at. He had white kid gloves on his hands, and he pointed out the animals to me and says, "Keeper, these wolves seem upset at something." "Maybe it's you," says I, for I did not like the airs as he give itself. He didn't get angry, as I hoped he would, but he smiled a kind of insolent smile with a mouthful of white sharp teeth. "Oh no, they wouldn't like me," he says. "Oh yes, they would," says I, imitating of him. "They always likes a bone or two to clean their teeth on about tea time." "Which you, as a bagful." Well, it was an odd thing, but when the animals sees us a-talking, they lay down. And when I went over to Berserker, he let me stroke his ear, same as ever. That there man came over, and blessed if he didn't put his hand and stroke the old wolf's ears too. "Take care," says I. "Berserker's quick." "Never mind," he says. "I'm used to him." "Are you in the business yourself?" I says, taking off my hat, for a man what trades in wolves is a good friend to keepers. "No," says he, "not exactly in the business, but I have made pets of several." And with that he lifts his as a polite as a lord and walks away. Old Berserker kept a looking arter him till he was out of sight, and then went and lay down in a corner and wouldn't come out, the all heaving. Well, last night, so soon as the moon was up, the wolves here all began howling. There weren't nothing for them to howl at. There weren't no one near, except someone that was evidently a-calling a dog somewheres out back of the gardenings in the park road. Once or twice I went out to see that all was right, and it was, and then the howling stopped. Just before 12 o'clock I just took a look round after turning him, and bust me, but when I came opposite to old Berserker's cage, I see the rails broken and twisted about and the cage empty, and that's all I know for certain. Did anyone else see anything? One of our gardeners was a-comin' about that time from an Armony, when he sees a big gray dog coming out through the gardening edges. At least so he says, but I don't give much for it myself, for if he did, he never said a word about it to his missus when he got home, and it was only after the escape of the wolf was made known, and we had been up all night a-hunting of the park for Berserker, then he remembered seeing anything. My own belief was that the Armony had got into his head. Now, Mr. Builder, can you account in any way for the escape of the wolf? "Well, sir," he said with a suspicious sort of modesty, "I think I can. I don't know as how you'd be satisfied with the theory." "Certainly I shall. If a man like you who knows the animals from experience can't hazard a good guess at any rate, who is even to try?" "Well then, sir, I accounts for it this way. It seems to me that our wolf escaped simply because he wanted to get out.